Simpsons is known for making us laugh, but hidden between the jokes are episodes that go somewhere most comedies refuse to go, into genuine darkness. Not violence or shock value, real, uncomfortable darkness, death, depression, existential dread. These episodes don't just push boundaries, they show us truths we'd rather not face. Today, we're exploring 6 Simpsons episodes that traded laughter for something heavier, examining why they disturbed us and why they still resonate. Homer's enemy introduces Frank Grimes, a man whose life has been nothing but struggle. Abandoned at age 4, injured in a silo explosion at 18, Frank finally earns his way to the Springfield nuclear power plant. Then he meets Homer Simpson. Homer is everything Frank isn't: lazy, incompetent, and impossibly lucky. Homer has a house, a family, and survives disasters that should have killed him. Frank works harder than anyone and has nothing. Homer barely works and has everything.
I'm saying you're what's wrong with America, Simpson.
Frank declares Homer his enemy and tries to expose him as a fraud. He tricks Homer into entering a children's design contest, expecting everyone to see how stupid Homer is. Instead, Homer wins. Everyone cheers, and Frank snaps completely. He has a full breakdown, shouting,
"Well, I don't need safety gloves because I'm Homer Simpson,"
and grabs live electrical wires. He dies instantly. At his funeral, Homer falls asleep and talks in his sleep. Everyone laughs. Nobody learns anything. Frank is lowered into the ground while people focus on Homer's antics.
That's our Homer!
Here's what makes this disturbing. Frank is right about everything. The universe isn't fair. Hard work doesn't always pay off. Sometimes the wrong people succeed while the deserving fail, and nobody cares. This episode forces us to see Homer through a stranger's eyes. From Frank's perspective, Homer isn't lovable. He's proof that life rewards incompetence while punishing effort. That's not comedy. That's tragedy. Mother Simpson reveals Homer's mother didn't die when he was young. She's been alive, hiding as a fugitive because she sabotaged Mr. Burns' germ warfare laboratory. Homer reunites with Mona, voiced by Glenn Close. For the first time, he understands why she left. It wasn't because she didn't love him. It was because staying meant prison. But then Mr. Burns recognizes her. The FBI closes in. Mona has to run again. The final scene is devastating. Homer tells her through tears,
"At least this time I'm awake for your goodbye."
Mona responds,
"Remember, whatever happens, you have a mother, and she's truly proud of you."
Then she's gone. Homer sits on his car hood in the desert, staring at the stars. No jokes, no music, just silence and a man processing that his mother is disappearing again, possibly forever. What makes this dark is the realization that Homer has carried this wound his entire life. When asked why his mother left, Homer stammers, "I guess I was just a horrible son and no mother would want me." That's decades of abandonment trauma. The episode connects to something universal, the fear that people who should love us unconditionally might choose to leave. And sometimes they do. Not because we're unlovable, but because life is complicated and unfair. Mona dies in a later episode. Homer never gets full closure. The wound never heals. In One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish, Homer eats fugu at a Japanese restaurant. The chef prepares it incorrectly. Homer is told he has 24 hours to live.
"You have 24 hours to live."
24 hours!
Homer makes a list of everything he wants to do before he dies. Spend time with his kids, listen to Lisa play saxophone, make peace with his father, have one perfect day. But Homer wastes most of his final hours. He fights with his father. He's too scared to tell his kids goodbye. He spends his last evening listening to the Bible on tape, falling asleep before finishing. The episode ends with Homer waking up alive. The poison didn't kill him. And what does he do? Goes right back to his old life, forgetting everything he learned. That's the darkness. We waste time convinced we have forever. Death feels distant until it doesn't. Even when given a second chance, we rarely change. Homer saw the end and still chose to live the same way. The episode doesn't preach. It shows what happens when someone confronts mortality and discovers they're not ready. Bart sells. His soul shows that Bart doesn't believe in souls, so he writes Bart Simpson's soul on paper and sells it to Milhouse for $5.
If you're so sure about that, why don't you sell your soul to me?
At first, nothing changes. Then small things go wrong. His pets don't recognize him. Automatic doors won't open. He can't make vapor on cold glass. He has nightmares about being trapped in a void. Nobody believes him. Everyone thinks he's pranking. But Bart knows something is genuinely missing. He's hollow, empty, disconnected from everything that makes him feel human. He tracks down Milhouse and begs for his soul back. Milhouse sold it to comic book guy, who sold it to someone else. The paper is gone. Bart breaks down, crying that he wants his soul back. Lisa gives him a paper that says, Bart Simpson's soul. She bought it from comic book guy. Whether it's the real soul or just paper doesn't matter. Bart believes he has it back, and that belief restores him. This episode treats the soul as something real and fragile. Bart didn't just lose confidence. He lost the part connecting him to the world. He became functionally dead while still breathing. The episode asks, what happens when you stop believing you're worth of anything? And can you ever truly get that back? Moaning Lisa is shockingly mature in how it handles depression. Lisa wakes up sad, not for any specific reason. She's just deeply, inexplicably unhappy. Nobody understands. Marge tells her to smile through the pain. Homer is distracted. Bart mocks her. Her teacher yells. Everyone demands she pretend to be happy. Lisa meets Bleeding Gums Murphy, who tells her it's okay to be sad. He doesn't try to fix her. He validates her feelings. They play music together, and for the first time, Lisa doesn't feel alone. But the episode doesn't give Lisa a cure. By the end, she's still depressed. The difference is that Marge finally sees her daughter's pain and stops demanding she fake happiness. She tells Lisa to be herself, even if that means being sad. This episode is dark because it acknowledges that some pain doesn't have solutions. Lisa is 8 years old, experiencing genuine depression, not sadness over a broken toy. Real clinical depression. And the show treats it seriously. The darkness is watching a child suffer while the adults around her fail to help because they don't understand what depression actually is. Round Springfield deals with death straightforwardly. Bleeding Gums. Murphy, the jazz musician who helped Lisa, dies alone in a hospital. Lisa visits him before he dies. He tells her he's proud of her, that she'll do great things with her music. Then he's gone. Lisa attends his funeral expecting a crowd. Almost nobody shows up. Bleeding Gums. Murphy lived his entire life as a musician, touched people's souls with his art, and died forgotten. Lisa buys his album and plays it on the radio as a tribute. For one brief moment, people remember him. Then he fades back into obscurity. The darkness is in the randomness and emptiness of death. Bleeding Gums. Murphy was kind, talented, and helped a child when she needed it most. But he still died alone and forgotten. There's no justice, no grand meaning, just loss. And Lisa carries that loss forever, knowing the person who saved her will never be remembered by anyone else. These episodes work because they don't pretend darkness doesn't exist. They show us Frank Grimes dying for nothing, Homer's mother leaving twice, Homer facing death and learning nothing, Bart losing his soul, Lisa battling depression as a child, death claiming good people who deserved better. The Simpsons could have stayed light and funny, but these episodes remind us why the show mattered. Sometimes comedy isn't enough. Sometimes you need to show the darkness to make the light mean something. What makes these episodes truly dark isn't violence or shock, it's honesty. They're dark because they tell truths we don't want to hear. That life isn't fair, that people leave, that death comes randomly, that childhood isn't always innocent. These aren't lessons, they're realities. And The Simpsons had the courage to show them, even knowing it would make us uncomfortable. That's why decades later we still remember Frank Grimes' funeral, Homer staring at the stars, and Lisa crying alone. Because darkness handled honestly stays with you forever.